This is the Frank and Friends show. Hi, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
Kathryn Frady, hi.
Hi. Long time no see.
It has been a long time. I'm kind of excited that you're here.
I am too.
Because we are doing the Frank and Friends show, and I have been a hot mess without you. I've been busy. I've been having struggles trying to get people to come in and sit here, and not because of anything wrong with them.
No, because of you.
Because of me.
Yeah, of course.
It takes longer to arrange to schedule someone to be here than it takes for them to be here.
Sure.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're here for half an hour, it takes multiple hours of planning and back and forth and texting days sometimes. So that's, it's all on me. It's all my fault. I've just been distracted and busy. But I do still want you to visit our website at frankandfriendshow.com, where you can find all sorts of fabulous things.
Yes, at frankandfriendshow.com/store.
That's
you can
where
find the mugs, you can find the cell phone cases.
Yes, the towel is put away for the winter, but it's somewhere.
But if you're in one of the warmer states,
you should still buy the towel. You could buy the bucket hat like April did, our viewer April.
Sweatshirts.
Oh, the sweatshirts look good. We wore those when we were out filming some See More Smokies adventures recently.
Nice.
And my wife wears hers as a crew sweatshirt.
Nice.
And I wear mine when I'm on the show. And it paid off because we were at Shadrack's Christmas Adventure, which is the newer one at Soaky Mountain Water Park. And some dude who had a hot chocolate stand gives a free hot cocoa to me and to Victoria Henley. I understand why they would give one to Victoria Henley. She's a fashion model.
Right.
But then Jere had the crew jacket on. He's like, well, she gets one too.
Nice. I love it.
So that was pretty cool. So you can get all that stuff and maybe get a free hot cocoa if you play your cards right.
That's right.
I can't promise anything.
No, but maybe you can be mistaken as the crew too.
Yes, do that. And please also, more importantly, tell your friends and subscribe on YouTube. The numbers have been inching up as I actually take people's phones and subscribe for them. Which I've learned this is a trick. Again, I'm mentioning Victoria Henley. We recorded another episode that'll be out soon from Beyond the Lens. And she says to people, hey, I want you to follow me. She's got all these things, social media.
Sure,
she's got her own podcast called Backstage Pass.
Nice.
And so she grabs their phone, looks up her Facebook page and Instagram and follows herself and likes herself with their phone.
Nice.
I got to start doing that.
Absolutely.
But I'm not a fashion model. And for me to say, can I have your phone? It doesn't play.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Maybe you should have her take their phones and subscribe them to Frank and Friends.
I tried that.
Yeah.
I was working on that angle, but then it gets a bit long. It takes you're holding the phone just uncomfortably too long.
You're like, okay, I have to follow you here. You have to follow me here and here and here and here and here.
So I'm working on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Working on it.
All right.
But I also have plans for you and me to go do an episode.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this one. So it's because it involves food. So we'll talk about that in days ahead. You'll see it obviously on our YouTube channel. So that's the point of the whole story: is subscribe to the Frank and Friends show on YouTube.
Smash that button.
You remembered for notifications. All right. So I've seen you. It feels like for you watching Frank and Friends, you haven't seen Kathryn in. I would have to look it up to tell you how long it's been.
It's been a while.
It's been a while because I put the show on hiatus while I recorded Scholars Bowl.
Right.
And you and I had plans to record around Thanksgiving time.
Yep.
But as I mentioned when Becca was here, your dear friend Brandon Gibson passed away unexpectedly right before Thanksgiving. So obviously we didn't have you here for a show.
Yeah.
Now you and I spent a fair amount of time hugging in that week.
We did,
visiting is what I meant, visiting.
Yeah. We don't hug. That's you.
Oh no, Kathryn says that to me. All right, so we're at the funeral. And Kathryn says, I need a hug. And she says, I know we don't hug, but she says, I need a hug. And I hugged her hard and I said, whispered in her ear, I said, we're past that. Whatever you need. You're grieving, whatever you need. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah,
so,
I know. Well, we had a nice Thanksgiving. You had us over.
We had,
so great. Yeah.
Kathryn and James spent Thanksgiving here at the podcast Ponderosa, and it was relaxed. We didn't record anything. There was no...
I know. We could have recorded the whole thing. It was hilarious.
It was a good time. And then you headed back to Baton Rouge. So what's new with you? What have you been up to?
Oh, my goodness. So since Thanksgiving, I've been in Baton Rouge producing Amahl and the Night Visitors.
You mean Amahl?
Amahl, yes.
That's a good show.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun show. They've done it for about 10 years, so this was kind of the last time for a while.
Oh, is that like their Nutcracker?
Kind of, yes.
They do it every year.
It has been,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought you were doing it because you had done it once before or twice before yourself, so you knew the ins and outs of it.
No, it was already planned.
Before you got there. All right.
Yeah, that they've done.
Kathryn is the executive director of Opéra Louisiane.
That's correct.
So some of these things were already on the docket before you came in. All right.
That's right, yeah.
All right.
And they have like a set and costumes that we're going to now start renting because we're going to do a new holiday opera next year.
Does that mean you rent those to other opera companies?
Correct.
You become the rentor, not the
That's right.
rentee.
Yes.
Wait, renter? I don't know.
Well, we own it. So,
Okay, so,
yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
What's the new holiday opera?
We don't know yet.
Oh.
Stay tuned.
I didn't know there were holiday operas.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of holiday operas. There's Gift of the Magi.
Oh, yeah.
There's some new ones coming out by my friends Clint Borzoni and Jonathan De Los Santos.
Nice.
The Christmas Spider, which is a Ukrainian holiday opera. There's one called Snowy Day that Houston Opera
Yeah.
recently premiered. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Are these ones that are like easy music for the kids to enjoy?
Some of them have
Or
kids in
are
the
they
show.
challenging? 'Cause I
no, they're-
I'm not ready for a challenging opera at Christmas.
No, these are beautiful music, and they're like Amahl.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
All right.
very similar.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember, now you've been posting photos from the past 10 seasons of Marble City Opera here in Knoxville. And I saw the picture, I assume it was you, right? In Gift of the Magi?
Yeah,
Where we
that's
had to
me.
make it look like you cut all your hair off?
Yeah.
What did you just tuck it up into a wig, or how do you do it?
So I had two wigs actually. I had all of my hair up into like a short
Oh, so you had like
haircut
a wig cap. Oh,
wig cap. Yeah, but it was like almost shaved
oh my.
the hair, and then I had another long wig on top of that.
Oh wow. So it's like Phantom of the Opera, where you get masks on top of makeup, on top of
Right.
on top of
Yeah.
wigs. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that when I left the stage to go cut my hair, she's really only supposed to cut like,
Oh.
into like a short bob, but we like shaved it basically. Yeah.
That's
It's great.
because you're cutting edge. Well, so you're going to be doing more performances in 2023.
Absolutely.
What do you got? I know you're singing Susanna here in Knoxville in June.
Yeah, singing at the fundraising event.
Oh, that's coming up this weekend.
Coming up,
Yeah,
which is great.
on Saturday the 14th.
Yep.
Can we buy a ticket at the last minute?
You can buy it at the door.
Oh, good. It's at the Botanical Gardens, marblecityopera.com/tickets.
Don't forget the slash.
You can just go to marblecityopera.com and if you can't figure it out from the homepage, then that's on you.
Or one of our myriad of
Yeah.
social media posts.
Exactly.
With the link there for you.
So that'll be fun. So you're singing
Yeah,
this weekend.
Singing this weekend.
What are you singing? Visa d'Arte? You singing that one?
No, actually, but we are doing like music from the past 10 years. So from the decades. We're starting with a quartet from La Boheme. But we did it as La Femme Boheme with an all-female cast. So I'm singing Mimi in that.
Mimi was an answer in the New York Times crossword puzzle the other day.
Was it?
But the question was character in Rent.
No.
Rent is based on La Boheme.
Character in Boheme.
But
Mimi.
she's Mimi in both shows.
Yeah, it's also my mother's name when she's...
Mimi?
Yeah, as a grandmother. That's what she chose, yeah. Anyway.
So fancy singing.
Fancy singing. I have a new opera that I'm doing. It's not really that new. It's kind of an old new opera.
Yeah.
It's called Cabildo
Cabildo.
by Amy Beach. It's written in the 1900s.
Cabildo. Was it like about Lego blocks?
No, there's like a place in New Orleans called the Cabildo, and it's based off this like
Where are you doing this one?
in Iowa.
No, wait a minute. You work at Opera Louisiane and you're doing a New Orleans opera. Why don't you just do it in Louisiana?
I know. Well, the producers are in Iowa.
Oh, so they hired you to go to Iowa to do a Cabildo.
That's right. Of course, I'm playing a ghost, per usual.
Okay.
Yeah, Lady Valerie.
All right.
And she was in a relationship with Pierre Lafitte.
Is he famous?
Oh, he was a pirate.
Yeah, I think I've heard of him before. Yeah.
Who
All
got
right.
thrown into jail and prison in the
Okay.
Cabildo in New Orleans.
Oh, all right. Well, that sounds fun. Maybe
Yeah.
if it's getting good, you could do it at Opera Louisiane.
That's right. Or at the Cabildo in New Orleans.
Ooh.
Site specific.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Fancy. I thought of you. I had this past Tuesday night, there was an Einstein Simplified show, and I'm in this game where it's called Number of Words. So I'm only allowed to speak 5 words at a time.
Okay.
And someone else can do, I think, 2.5, was because the audience was trying to be difficult. And maybe the other guy had like 3 or 4 words, okay?
So you have half a word?
No, I had 5 full words,
Okay.
but Greg had 2.5 words.
Okay.
And then they tell us for the setting, the 3 of us are going to be at the Sydney Opera House.
Very nice.
So the two of so I figuring just to build something. I dropped back to make an entrance partly way through the scene to see what they've got. So they come in and they're like, wow, it looks like we're here in the Sydney Opera House or whatever they're trying to say. So I come in and start doing an Australian accent and I tell them that they're here just in time. They have to sing opera.
Nice.
And they're like going, I'm like, no. I said, you have to sing. I tried to do it in 5 words. La Donna es mobile from, and they have to say something. And then I can go, Rigoletto, it's the best aria.
Nice.
And I thought, oh, wow, I remembered the name of an aria. And so we struggled. Anyway, then the scene's still going on. I'm trying to get out of it. And I'm trying to think of something else that I can remember. And the only other thing I could remember was from Aida. I said, you could sing Gera, 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 Gera.
You can use the same word over and over.
Well, the audience didn't know. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just.
All right.
Then I told them it means war, 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 war. So anyway, I felt very operatic.
That is great.
And then they
Did
wanted,
you sing?
Kind of, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in another scene, it was a guessing game. I had to get Paul to guess some current song called Dance Monkey, and I've never heard of it before because I'm out of the popular
I've
music
never
scene.
heard it either.
So I felt bad. But I knew the opera. I didn't know the Dance Monkey.
But did he just have to act out the dance monkey?
I did. I acted out the
the.
Dance Monkey, and he guessed it. So
Well, I mean, I feel like that's one that you could easily act out.
I did. It was fast. I got it. I said I did some box steps, and then I threw my poo, and I was in and out
Perfect.
like no time flat.
Fantastic.
So it's been since Thanksgiving since we've talked. You can see that the winter tablecloth has been put in
know.
place.
Snowman.
You had a good Christmas. You had fun. You spent time with your husband
Yeah, it was great. So my younger brother
down in
Baton Rouge.
Nice.
Well, we were in Baton Rouge and we were in Dallas and then back in Baton Rouge. So my my niece came to visit me, not my nephew, with my brother, and
Yeah.
they came to see Amahl.
Good.
And that was fun. I took her backstage
Oh, that's
at
sweet.
the performance. So it was really fun. They were sitting in the theater and they had gone in and they had their tickets and they had gotten them good seats because I
Yeah.
knew where the good
Yeah,
seats were.
yeah.
And I said,
You run the opera company.
I mean,
You can put.
put them where I want.
Well, I learned this when I worked in box office. There's a thing called house seats where you have to reserve a couple of seats in every section and not sell them just for when it hits the fan and something goes awry.
Right.
You know, like Dr. Sharon Lord shows up and says, "We're here to buy cash tickets." And I saw this happen at the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra. I'm like, "Yes, ma'am," and you'll sit right here.
Right, exactly.
They always have a seat in the back pocket. Don't tell everyone that this is a insider secret.
Insider secret, yeah. But it's true. So,
But it will get to a point where once those are sold, then everything really is gone. But
right.
they do sell those tickets before the show starts.
Right. So I looked at my niece and I was like, "Do you want to go backstage?" And she got her eyes really, really big. And I was like, "All right, come on." So I took her, and the way the theater is set up is, you can walk through a back door. And so you're in the house with all the audience members
Yeah.
and the curtain is closed. And then you open this door and it's like a whole nother world.
It is. I
It's
love
like
that.
going into
I love
Narnia,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So her eyes were huge, and the orchestra, because the pit in that theater was flooded. I mean, Louisiana. So the orchestra was backstage too.
Oh,
So they're
wow.
all warming up, and they're back there in the dark, and the lights are on the stage. And I mean, she
That's fun.
introduced her to the stage managers and the conductor, and Sarah Krieger, who was playing the mother.
Oh, yeah.
She was in our show here in the Copper Queen.
Yeah, yeah. And Maurice Hendricks was
Maurice Hendricks was there.
went down to Louisiana for the show.
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Hey, do you ever get down to New Orleans much? You mentioned
A little bit.
doing the Cabildo.
Yeah, I go visit my in-laws in New Orleans.
Because you know my friend Bean
I do.
from the well-known podcast A Cup of Tea and a Chat with Allie and Bean.
Yeah.
He asked about you. And he's my other half British, half American friend.
Right.
His mom was British and his dad was American in the Navy and stuff. Well, he said, "Does Kathryn ever come to New Orleans?" I'm like, "I don't know. How far is Baton Rouge?"
It's like an hour.
Yeah. You know, he said, "Well, if she ever comes to Baton Rouge, we should have her over to our house."
Oh, fun.
I'm like, "That's fantastic."
That'd be a great time.
So-
we can make fun of you the whole time.
That's, I think, what his.
That's the plan?
I think that's the
Yeah,
plan. I think he's got that in mind.
Yeah, good.
Well, let me tell a little theater story also.
Okay.
Because I just briefly mentioned that I went to the Clayton Holiday concert. And I love, the Civic Auditorium is not everyone's favorite facility because it's
It's really big.
It's big, but it's also boxy, and it's civic.
Like a bar.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not an intimate theater. It doesn't have the acoustics and of some of the other,
like the
except when you're backstage, because it's been around for so long and so many famous people have performed there. There's autographs all over the wall and props and just stuff. It's fun to be backstage there at the Civic Auditorium. So I had been just the week before doing the Nativity pageant next door at the Civic Coliseum, and there's some overlap in the backstage area. And now the next weekend, my wife is singing with the Choral Society. So I have purchased my one ticket, my solo ticket, so I can go to the show. And I mentioned Dr. Sharon Lord decided she was going to go, so we said, well, we'll give you a ride.
Nice.
And she goes there, and so we're not sitting together. She's in.
They got her good seats.
I also. Well, my wife and I both used to work box office. So on Black Friday, the Symphony had a half price sale on tickets for the Friday night show. So we go scooting through it looking for singles, because you know how that is. People buy huge blocks of tickets for their family. So if this person buys 5 and this person buys 5, then it doesn't, whatever it is, this person buys 3, it doesn't work out. There's like often an
odd number.
An odd seat.
Yeah.
So I'm 10th row center.
Nice. That's good.
I've got a good seat, and Sharon is a couple of rows in front of me, but on the other across the aisle.
Okay.
So she also has good seats, but we're not together. And I'm sitting there, and it's also weird. At intermission, I overhear the people next to me saying, I saw Sharon Lord here tonight. I said, oh, really? What's your name? I'll tell her
tell her you said hi. Yeah.
And he freaked out. The guy freaked out. He shut up because I don't know what he was going to say next.
Amazing.
Because I said, I gave her a ride here tonight. And he's like, he's clammed up. And I was like, I was nobody for the rest of the night. But it was interesting being there because I had just done Nativity pageant the week before. And I had dropped Sharon off in the lobby and gone parked. So now I'm walking back. And Sharon's waiting in the lobby, not knowing where I'm coming in, what I'm going to do. I walk in, and one of the security guards goes, "Hey, Frank!"
Amazing.
Because they had just seen me the week before, right? So Sharon whips around and goes, "Well, there you are." So, and it was one of those nights where you see so many people because most of Knoxville will try to go to this show. I mean, they have, over the course of 4 or 5 performances, they'll get like 10,000 people through the theater.
That's amazing.
So we're there on Friday night. I'm seeing all these people I haven't seen in years. I'm having a great time. At right around intermission, just before intermission, my phone starts going crazy.
Okay.
I've got a text. And I've got a call, and it's from the alarm company.
It wasn't me.
No, it was the home alarm system here at the house.
Had gone off?
Had been triggered, and
so you were being invaded?
That's what who knows? I'm not here, right?
Right.
So the alarm's going off. I'm getting nervous, and I don't know I'm thinking I got a call. Well, it's intermission, so it sends you a text with a website.
Okay.
So you click on the website, and it says, the motion detector inside your house has been activated.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, oh, that's worse. I mean, because it's not like the doors, it's not like the door or the window has triggered the alarm. It's the actual motion detector inside an empty house. I'm like, oh, no. And then my next door neighbor, Ted, starts calling because he's in Chattanooga or someplace. And
his alarm had gone off?
He gets notified as, like, not my next of kin, but I put him down as an emergency contact.
Okay.
He's like, why? I'm getting spam from your alarm. He's my Turkish neighbor. I'm getting spam from your alarm, Frank. What is going on? I said, no, it's real. I'm going to try to call somebody. Are you home? Can you go take a look? No, I am in Chattanooga. Maybe you should try, what's his name? Irwin. Anyway, the guy 2 doors down owns the fence company.
Okay.
I'll think of him in name in a second. His last name's Irwin. Ben. So call Ben, 2 doors down that way. Meanwhile, I'm calling next door neighbor Nancy going the other side, and can't get her. I'm calling
But you also don't want like one of your neighbors to go into your house if there's an intruder here.
Well, I want him to. I didn't think there was an intruder, but I want him to at least take a look. Meanwhile, the alarm company calls the police, so the police are on the way. I have called. Next to Ted, I've called Nancy, I've called Nicole and Drew across the street. I've tried reaching Greg. I've called all these people, and I'm getting nothing so far. But then I'm starting getting texts back, and I'm like, well, I'll try calling Matt Ben. He's 2 houses down. By the time I text him, he had already been to my house because Ted couldn't wait. So Ben is you don't mess with Ben.
Okay, so he's coming over here ready to.
He owns a fence company.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, he grew up in this neighborhood, so he's also protective of the neighborhood. So he grew up in this neighborhood, then bought the house 2 doors down. Good guy. And he built my fence.
Nice.
So he comes over and he knows the in and outs of the yard.
Right.
And he checks everything, does the whole perimeter check before the police even get there. And then he says, "Yeah, cops are here. They got the lights going and they're looking around and everything seems fine." And then I start hearing from every other neighbor. I hear from neighbor Greg over there, Nicole over there, Nancy, like, "Well, this light is on in your garage." I'm like, "Yeah, I left that on. That's okay." And this light is on, and this, and this, and this. And it turns out nothing had happened. There was a false. The alarm went off.
Well, what moved? Was it a ghost?
It could have been a ghost. So we're panicked. So anyway, the next day, Jere and I go to church. Or I guess it was, or whatever it was. We went somewhere that was a Saturday. The next day was a Saturday. We go somewhere, we set the alarm, and it goes off again.
What? No.
But this time I tell ADT, no, don't send the police.
Don't send anyone.
Everyone
It's just a ghost.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So Ted calls, "What is wrong with your alarm?" They've notified me again.
The whole thing goes on again.
The best I can figure is that, it was so cold.
There's a mouse.
Oh, it could be a mouse. But what I think it is we had closed the curtains over there. See those curtains over there behind you?
Yeah.
We had closed those to give added insulation. Okay. So the best I can figure is that when the heat came on, it caused the curtains to billow. And see, there's the motion detector right up there in the corner. Yeah. So I think that might, not that you need to know where that is, but I think,
now you know.
I think that might have been it. I don't know.
Or there's a ghost.
Yeah.
I like that as an option.
Well, you play a lot of ghosts.
Yeah,
You know what you should play? What? Go ahead, keep going.
I think it could be a mouse.
A mouse.
A squirrel.
I hired a new exterminating company last year.
Okay.
And
Mo could be getting out.
Mo could be doing it. They've done a good job of getting the mice. They put some kind of stuff like in the garage and around so that the mouse is supposed to eat it and then go away and die. Mm-hmm. So Jere found a dead mouse in the garage, and she's freaking out. And I had just walked by there a few hours earlier. She says, "How come you didn't see this dead mouse?" I'm like, "I would have seen a dead mouse. It was right.
Like it wasn't there.
It was so obviously in the path." I said, "No, clearly he just died. It's a fresh death." So I'm in charge. That's my job in the house. Is I don't like taking care of certain things that go down the toilet, but anything dead.
Yeah.
You know why I'm good at dead things?
I think you're about to tell me.
As you can tell, I'm trying to get
I'm a little scared.
the Bone Zones box open because I work with Dr. Bill Bass at bonezones.com. Don't forget the S, where you can get autographed merchandise, all sorts of things for Dr. Bill Bass, for you Body Farm fans.
Oh, I like these T-shirts.
These are nice. They're soft,
nice.
too. Feel how soft it is.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
It's the good kind.
Yeah.
And, you look at that signature on the back and a list of all his books. In fact, I planted as a prop back here. This is a Rose Glen Literary Festival mug. I didn't know what to put in it, so I put in some fancy chocolates that you're welcome to have.
Fantastic.
But that's a different story right now. They're from Dr. Al Hazari, who also does appearances with Dr. Bass occasionally. We did one in December with Dr. Hazari and Sam Venable and Dr. Bass. But coming up on, I believe it's February 25th, at the Rose Glen Literary Festival, Dr. Bass is scheduled to appear there and to talk about the different books that he's got. It's going to be called Dr. Bill Bass, A Conversation with Frank Murphy. Okay. And then we'll do it as a two-person show.
Nice.
So we'll be talking about, like, for example, I think I love to always grab Death's Acre because it's the nonfiction book about the history and origins of the body farm. But most of the questions we get are either, why did you start the body farm? Or they're like from the other nonfiction book, Beyond the Body Farm, because they want to hear about the Big Bopper, or they want to hear about some of these other well-known cases that he investigated. And these books are written with John Jefferson, which is why, I know I should have these closer, which is why the fiction books, this is the first of the Dr. Brockton.
Carved in bone.
Yeah, but see the name, it's by the author, Jefferson Bass.
Oh.
Well, it's John Jefferson, Bill Bass.
Nice, and they wrote it together.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
So Dr. Bass provides like the science part of it, and John does the mystery part of it, the daring do, if you will.
Very cool.
So he'll go, like in this book, the main character goes to a cockfight and swallows chewing tobacco and vomits. Dr. Bass didn't do that, but John Jefferson did.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So that's kind of fun.
Interesting.
So anyway, bonezones.com. Don't forget the S. And check us out at
February 25th.
Yeah, it's the Rose Glen Literary Festival at the Sevierville Convention Center. I think you and I have been there together. We did a See More Smokies from that building. I'll show you lastly, the skulls.
I like the gold one.
The gold ones are cool.
That is cool.
So
The signature and everything. So why did he start the body farm?
Well, he had been called in on a case to identify some remains that were, it was some grave robbers had dug up over near Nashville. And the flesh on this body was still pink. And the head was missing. So the original analysis made it look like a fairly fresh corpse.
Right.
But it was actually a colonel from the Civil War who had been embalmed with arsenic, Colonel Shy. And had his head still been on, they would have figured out a little faster who he was.
Right.
But as they went, so his initial reaction was, this guy's been dead a couple of weeks. Then the further analysis, when they look at the actual steel coffin, the clothes that he's got on, and they figured out, oh wait, Colonel Shy's grave has been disturbed. They thought that someone had dumped a fresh body on top of Colonel Shy, and they realized, oh no, this is Colonel Shy.
Oh wow.
Then no one expected him to still be,
that's incredible.
fresh-ish after 120 years.
Right.
So it was an unusual case, and Dr. Bass starts looking through all the scientific literature trying to figure out, how do you know how long it takes someone to decompose, given all these different variables? And nobody knew.
Right.
So he goes to UT and says, I need to study dead bodies and measure how long they takes to decompose.
That's so fascinating.
And that's how it started.
I keep thinking about Dr. Bill Bass. I need to meet him because...
that can be arranged. I know somebody.
I know you do. You know somebody. I want to talk to him about, our Doctor and the Devil's opera that we're workshopping, and because that's all about grave robbing and, do the ends justify the means? This doctor is really wanting to perform surgeries.
Well, that's that you're right on mark with it, because another thing Dr. Bass started was the William M. Bass Modern Skeletal Collection. So when you donate your remains to the body farm, the skeleton becomes the property of UT and stays there forever in a box, cataloged, and all your bones are measured and analyzed and put into a computer program called 4Ns, something like that. It's like a play on the word forensics, but it stands for something, this database. And the reason for that is, prior to the 1980s, 90s, when Dr. Bass starts collecting modern skeletons, all of the skeletons that were used in university research were from like the 1800s, many of which had been grave robbed and sold to doctors and scientists, which is exactly what your opera's about.
Right.
Yeah. So Dr. Bass started his skeletal collection because of what had happened in your opera.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a direct connection.
That's awesome.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah, well, we have to have a conversation.
So
figure out how we can collaborate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what did you get for your husband for Christmas? Anything?
Okay, so
Because I got slippers. My wife gave me some nice slippers from I saw them on the Deal Guy, told me about them at Aldi, so I ran right out and
they are nice. You're going to get some more. Well, I never know what to get James. I did find him something that was like a actual Christmas present, which was like this one of these like massage guns.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen those? Yeah.
Anyway. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
My chiropractor told me to get one.
Okay.
Because he has one in his office and he was using it on me.
Yeah.
I was having some, like during the tapings of Scholars Bowl, my feet were just killing me. He's like, you got to get one of these guns and go right here on this tendon, muscle, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get it. I mean, I need to, but I didn't.
Yeah, you should. Well, some of my friends had them in Santa Fe, and so I was like, oh, that's cool. So that's something he would really like. But then I was like, everyone needs something fun at Christmas.
Okay, sure.
And I found this karaoke microphone.
Does James sing?
No, he does not. And
Wait, he's an opera director. He doesn't sing?
No,
He's been an actor.
He's been an actor, but he does not sing.
He's very theatrical. He's studied all this. He's a great director. He knows all this stuff.
Yeah, and he played violin, but
no singing.
No singing.
So you gave him a microphone for singing.
Right. Yeah. And I was just like, well, this would be funny, and it comes it's like this silver microphone. It's got this box on it. you hook it up to your phone. It's got a Bluetooth and a speaker. So you can like play the songs. Like there's a whole bunch of karaoke songs on YouTube.
In the old days, we used to have a Mr. Microphone, and it would connect to an FM radio.
Right.
And the commercial was, "Hey, good looking, I'll be back to pick you up later." Because the guy would be in his car talking to a girl on the radio in her car.
Nice.
Isn't that creepy?
That is really creepy.
That's
yeah. But
so you got
anyway,
him a Mr.
so I got
Microphone.
him this microphone.
and what have you done with it so far?
So the first night he had it, he opened it up and sang for 2 hours.
He sang. You just said he didn't sing.
I mean, he hadn't really prior to that.
Rock and roll, opera,
everything.
Show
Rock and roll.
tunes.
I mean, he likes, Bowie. Bowie? No.
Yeah, that's a town
Bowie?
in Maryland. Bowie's a town in Maryland, dear hun. It's in PG County. You go a little bit east of Washington, and you get to Bowie, Maryland.
In my mind, I'm talking about James. My parents were going to name me James Bowie, and I'm trying to think of Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, there is a famous guy. I mean, they named a knife after him, the Bowie knife.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Bowie, Maryland, and all that business. Yeah. But David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Whose real name is David Jones.
Okay.
If that helps you.
Easier, yeah.
Yeah, but there already was a famous Davy Jones in the Monkees, so his stage name became David Bowie.
Nice. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. I think his birthday is the same as like Elvis's.
Okay.
January 8th. This is one of those things. You pick up these, I pick up trivia when I'm talking about. I play a lot of David Bowie songs on 104.9 Lake FM. Our podcast is on the Lake FM app now.
What?
I know.
What?
I know. I mean, we're on all these. I signed up for some more podcast apps.
That's
awesome. I got a message from Podbean saying we start doing commercials for Podbean, which I need to start doing, but also that they put us in some more other new podcast apps that I never heard of.
Okay.
So it was in my brain. So I sent the RSS feed to the owner of Lake FM. I said, you got the Ice Bears podcast in there. You got the Anna and Raven podcast in there. You want Frank and Friends? So boom, next thing you know, it's
awesome.
on there.
It was just about asking.
Yeah. So that's
awesome.
So that's kind of exciting. So anyway, that's why I know about David, Bowie songs. But I also want to have you tell a quick other musical story. I wonder if I should do it now or save it for another show.
Tell me now.
Okay. I went to another concert. My wife had so many concerts during November and December. She had a Knoxville Choral Society concert at the beginning of November. She did an extra version of the Chronicles of Blue and Gray, which I think I've told you before at Thanksgiving. I think I told you this, would make for a great opera. It's just so nice. It's Civil War stuff.
Yeah, you were saying it was like really, really beautiful music.
I love it. I love it. And then the Handel's Messiah on Thanksgiving weekend.
Right.
And then all those Clayton holiday shows, and then more church singing. Mm-hmm. So she's been very busy. At one of these concerts, I guess it was the Knoxville Choral Society, and it was at Sacred Heart Cathedral. Okay. So we go to a lot of these cathedral concert shows because I like it. Most of them are free. This one was not. I had to buy a ticket. But many of them are free. They asked me to MC their next Choral Society concert.
Nice.
So
that's exciting.
Anyway. But I'll this one I'm there, and I know where I like to sit at the cathedral. There's a couple of places. I got this. You know how it's the equivalent of 10th row center.
Right.
I'm kind of looking for that aisle seat, kind of in the sweet spot for the acoustics, and I kind of know where I want to sit. And I'm looking around, and there's a guy sitting in the exact pew that I would have chosen. So now I'm going to go to second choice. I'm like, okay, this guy, we're early enough. My wife's in the show. I don't know why this old guy is here so early.
Right.
But I'm also here early, so I can find another seat. Well, the usher starts looking at me, like pointing to areas. And the old guy, it turns out he's in his early 80s.
Okay.
Okay. But the old guy does this, goes, and this lights up. And it's like, hey, why don't you sit? Come on over.
He must know you.
No, not yet.
Oh, he wasn't talking to you.
Not yet. No, he waves me over and tells me he'll stay in this aisle seat. So the aisle's here. He's going to stay here. Right. And I sit. He says, come on over. Sit down. Sit down. Well, within the course of seconds, I am told that he's here from California.
Okay.
He's here from Southern California, from the Los Angeles area. His sister is in the Choral Society.
Nice.
He's visiting her, and he came to see her show.
Nice.
And he's actually a jazz pianist.
Oh.
Yeah, his job in his 80s is to play jazz music at different bars and restaurants around the San Fernando Valley. And like he lives, I don't know, if not exactly Northridge, maybe Encino, someplace nice like that, somewhere in that, along Ventura Boulevard. I don't know. He's telling me all these things. He's just mentioning these bars. Because I say, I used to live in Burbank. Do you ever go to the Castaway or maybe the Smokehouse? I love those places, but mostly I play at these, and lists off all these other joints where he plays jazz piano.
Okay.
And then, we're still inside a minute of me sitting down.
Right.
Then he says to me, oh, do you know, I composed the song Spooky. Now, at this point, the conversation probably could have stopped. I could have said, oh, that's nice. But instead, I said, Spooky? You mean by the Classics 4? You know it? That's a famous song.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was a hit. And well, it turns out he wrote the instrumental version of it as a jazz piece. He composed the music, and then this rock group called Classics 4. Well, yeah, Dennis Yost made up some lyrics to that. That was a big hit.
That's amazing.
And it's been covered, and he starts telling me all these people who've covered it over the years. So now I'm sitting next to the composer of Spooky, who's visiting from Los Angeles. And he's just telling me all about these interesting things in his career. Because remember, we're at the concert early. We have like 45 minutes to kill before showtime easily. So he's telling me his whole life story. And at some point, he mentions something about the Lawrence Welk show.
Okay.
Somewhere in that, because he composed these theme songs for shows that were on NBC that didn't make it. Somebody still composes the theme song. They still do all that work, even for a show that doesn't get picked up.
It only has,
So he mentions these shows that I never heard of,
right.
But he composed the music for him. You know, this is obviously his living. I've got his name. I've got his everything. Mm-hmm. And he mentions the Lawrence Welk show. I say, oh, wow, that's nice. I met a lady who was on the Lawrence Welk show. She lives here at Knoxville. Oh, really? I said, yeah, I think her name was Ava Barber. Ava Barber? And I said, yeah, I met her like 10 years ago. We were doing a PBS pledge drive together. I'd love to talk to Ava Barber. I said, well, I met her like 10 years ago, one time. You need to have Ava Barber call me. I haven't talked to Ava Barber in years. She and I were chums. So I'm saying, how do I get in touch with Ava Barber? I'm like, I don't know. She was on a pledge drive. She used to own a sandwich shop, I can tell you that, but she sold it. Well, that's great. I'll love to ask her about that when you have her call me. I tell you about Ava, and he starts going on about the Lawrence Welk show and about Ava Barber and all these things. I'm like, oh, now what do I do?
How do you find Ava Barber?
I know. So after the concert, he calls his sister over. Pippa, come over here. Or Pippi, whatever, Pippa something. This is Frank. He's going to get me in touch with Ava Barber. And he pulls out his business card and he crosses out the Los Angeles number and he writes down the sister's number. So I'm staying at her house. Have Ava Barber call me at her house this weekend before I leave town. Like, what have I gotten myself into?
This is amazing.
So now I'm like, I don't know. So this is a Friday night.
You just call PBS?
I'm thinking about it, but it's Saturday now.
Okay.
So now it's Saturday, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to track down Ava Barber? The only thing
for the weekend.
I remember is that she used to own a steamboat sub shop in Fountain City because it was in the newspaper. It's like, hey, famous person sells sandwich shop out of leaves town.
Right.
And then I'm Googling, I'm trying to figure out. I see a story about how she's sold her house, and she and her husband Roger are living the RV lifestyle.
Nice.
I'm like, we're done. There's no way.
This is not happening.
This is not happening. Well, it turns out Roger was also on the Lawrence Welk show.
Okay.
All right? He's a drummer. And I'm digging into, I'm learning everything. I'm reading every article there is about Ava Barber.
Research.
And I just started thinking, well, actually, and there's something in one of the articles that sparks my imagination. Mm-hmm. Well, how about, so I start doing and remember, I used to be a radio producer, and I used to track people down so we could call them and make fun of them on the air. That was doing my actual job.
Right.
So I started doing a few of those old tricks that I used to do. And next thing you know, I find a phone number that I believe belonged to Ava Barber at one point, or maybe to Roger or something. I found two different phone numbers. And I call one, and it's been disconnected.
Okay.
Well, what the heck? I'll try the other one. What are the odds?
Yeah.
Who's going to answer?
Right.
It's noon on a Saturday afternoon. There's a Vols game on. I mean, what are the chances?
Right.
Hello? Hi, is this Ava Barber? Who's this? I said, hi, this is Frank Murphy. We met one time at East Tennessee PBS. And I wanted to put you in touch with, oh, hang on, talk to my husband. And she passes the phone.
Okay.
I said, is this Roger? Yeah. I said, my name is Frank. I met Ava at East Tennessee PBS. East Tennessee PBS? We'd love to do a project with you. I'm like, I don't actually work there.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I'm an independent contractor. I have 2 shows there. I just realized I better stop talking.
Right.
Because I've got 2 shows on this channel, and I better, next thing you know, he's going to book himself on as the new guest host on Scholars Bowl or something. I don't know. Well, I'd love to be on East Tennessee PBS, I'm like, well.
Or up close.
I said, all I'm trying to tell him is that, look, I met Ava 10 years ago when we did a pledge drive together. Okay. Well, we're in North Carolina at a festival right now. I guess maybe Ava told me that. I mean, we're at a festival in North Carolina. I talked to my husband. And you hear all this noise in the background.
Yeah.
I thought they were at the Vols game, but they were at some kind of thing. I don't know what they were doing there. I never got to that point because I then get the husband on the phone and I'm like, look, this is going to sound crazy. But I met this dude who said that he knew you. His name is Harry Middlebrooks. Harry Middlebrooks? We'd love to talk to Harry Middlebrooks. Oh, tell Harry Middlebrooks to call me right away. This is fantastic. We haven't talked to Harry Middlebrooks in years. Like, is this how they talk out there?
I mean, apparently.
Is this how it goes? So now all I have to do is
connect the dots.
Is text Harry's information to the guy, Ava's husband.
Right.
And I can't text Harry, but I can email it to him, which he might not see until he gets to California. And I try to send it to the sister Pippa. And I'm like, well, that's it. I'm done.
Right.
I guess I'm done.
That's
and then I get this odd voice message from Harry Middlebrooks' sister. And it's just them talking in the background.
Oh, they didn't mean to call you.
They didn't mean to call me.
Amazing.
It's just like, I just hear them talking about Ava Barber, and it's like just bizarro world.
Yeah,
and then a week later, I get an email from Harry Middlebrooks saying, thanks, I talked to Ava Barber, I appreciate it. So the story has a happy ending.
Nice, that's great.
But what are
crazy.
the odds? Because this guy was sitting in the chair that I would have sat in.
Mm-hmm. You had to do all of this work in getting him connected with Ava Barber.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
It's really nice.
Much like it's meant to be for you to hit the subscribe button on YouTube so you don't miss any of our Frank and Friends show episodes. And if you really like audio entertainment, check out audible.com. Actually, check out audibletrial.com. That's even better. /Frank and Friends show, where you can get a free 30-day premium membership to Audible and listen to podcasts like this, listen to audiobooks. In fact, my friend Gene Masters filled in one of the days that you're here. He's got a couple of books on Audible you can listen to about the submarine adventures that he's got. Good stuff. So look up Gene Masters when you're on there.
You get one free download.
Yeah, you get to keep, because that's every month you get a credit for an MP3 download. And during your free month, you still get one. You get all the benefits of a premium membership because they're going to convince you, I hope, to stick around and continue your membership and just listen in your AirPods, listen on your Amazon Alexas, listen on your apps, whatever you got, and it saves your place. So you don't have to worry about, where did I leave off? You don't have to fast forward, rewind. It picks up, it syncs up on all your devices.
Yeah.
So that's audibletrial.com /Frank and Friends show. Anything else for you, madam, before we let you leave?
That's it for me.
Check out Marble City Opera this weekend for my pal Frady.
Yeah, and my pal Frank, he's going to be the MC.
Yeah, how did I get into that?
I can't imagine how you got sucked into that. Oh, I actually have a bit for you that I need to talk to you about.
Oh, good. Yeah. I like bits. Okay.
So you have to come and find out how I make Frank a part of the action.
Great. Fantastic. Can hardly wait. Well, I didn't even get to tell you about this fig plant back here.
I know. We're going to have to talk again.
I'll do another show sometime.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks a lot for being here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. This is the Frank and Friends show. I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
And we'll talk to you again next time.